So the topic that was given to me was the unfair advantage, turning your uniqueness into innovation. So I took up as a challenge to talk to you guys about this because there are a lot of warm stories that comes from my own personal life that I have, they say, walk the talk kind of thing, right? So once again, with TED, we know that we are not supposed to use code. So there was one full page of thing came like do's and don'ts. So I'm going to keep it very casual as a dialogue with you guys. So what is that we're talking about, right? Have you, as students or teachers or individuals, have you ever been at a time where you are in a, amongst a group of people or in a classroom where you're realizing like, why am I here? Did I walk into a advanced quantum class or something because you don't fit in there, right? Many times it has happened to us. Whether it could be a group of friends or when you walk into a class, the teacher is talking and you're like, am I supposed to be right here, right? That kind of awkwardness, I think all of us have at some point in our life realized it, right? And then we often feel that success, it's myth, I call it, that success comes from being the smartest, being the most eloquent, and you know all the answers to everything, and this could be in any setting. But let me tell you one thing: the uniqueness and the innovation comes from you not fitting into something that is quirky about you, something that is awkward about you that you can convert and actually channelize it better. It can become an innovation. And I'll tell you, innovation doesn't necessarily mean that you have a product. It could be something that you have, used it for yourself to make it better for yourself. I'll tell you a simple story from my own life. I had this horrible English diction. Right now, standing here, you might think, oh, she speaks well, she has an accent to it, all that because of my 22 years living in the US. But tell me about it. I grew up in Madhya Pradesh. Currently, also, it's one of the backward states in India. But rewind 45 years ago, right? When I was 5 years old, or 3 years old. I don't want to give up my age right here. But when you look at it, I was went to a typical CBSE school where because my father was working in the Brillas there, a mechanical engineer. Life was good, but the education system was we were speaking what is English spoken as Hindi, right? We call it like Tanglish Madri English we were doing because that's how the teachers were there and we were taught in that. Till 12th grade, I went through that system, English medium, but in that English medium, right? Then I come to Anna University, one of the prestigious schools in Tamil Nadu as well as India. Then you meet this group of friends who are all convent educated, the best of the cream of Chennai are there, and we are all part of it. The first week of my college, we walk into the cafeteria, right? And we get the thali food because I'm very excited. We're eating, staying in the hostel, and then they bring in this, a salad. I pick up one vegetable which is called cucumber now, but I said, "Can I have a piece of cucumber?" Everyone laughed, and I just felt that can I hide myself under a table, right? Because there are these hi-fi friends of mine who felt that why is she speaking English like this? She can't even pronounce a cucumber, and she calls it a cucumber. Okay, so that day I felt like, what should I do about this, right? I have to survive, I have to fit in, and what do I do? This was one of the follies I had. I thought, maybe, it was not my weakness. I know how to speak English, my vocabulary was already good. So, those 3 years of Guindy Engineering College with a group of good friends actually helped me convert myself into one of the few students who had one of the top ranks to get into the GRE or where we go for a master's in the US with a full scholarship. Right here again, I'm not here to come and gloat about how good I am. That's not the point. The point is how you can take something that you feel that is an awkward thing in your life and you can convert it into your strength eventually. So throughout my career, if you ask me to pick the two strengths I have right now, which have made me grow up in my US career also, is strategic innovation, which I also, as my executive MBA at Stanford, I focused on that. The second is executive communication. They usually tell me that I can take a pencil and sell that it's a pen, or I can, take a bar of soap and say this is the best food that you can eat. Basically, you have to see what something that you're quirky about, something that's awkward, something you're out of place, that you can actually convert it into your strength. As I said, it is for me that was part of an innovation. Let me take you to an example. It's not just about me. everybody knows about Steve Jobs, right? Everyone uses Apple. We think it is a disruptive product that has changed the world. Then imagine a parent when he walks in when he is in college and says, "Mom and Dad, I'm going to drop out of college." And sure, honey, to do what? I'm going to go and learn how to write pretty letters. Really? Okay. He dropped out of college at a very tender age to go learn calligraphy at the local community college, right? That particular skill of him is what helped him to create Mac. Why do you think the 90% of the designers in the world use Mac computers? Because Mac understands how beautifully you can design something, right? When he came into this, when we talk about ergonomics and designs and disruptives, smartphones and the user experience that we see in the smartphones of Apple products came because of his learning from his calligraphy days. The second example I'll talk about is Oprah Winfrey. Everybody knows Oprah, right? She came from an extremely underprivileged background, went through hell, growing up in the downtrodden place of Chicago and stuff like that. She converted that weakness she had into every afternoon making 1 million women. If it was in the US, I was doing the TED Talks, I would have said your moms and your aunts must be crying every afternoon when she starts talking about empathizing and she connects with the audience. Oprah has made $1 billion company talking to people about her weakness, where she comes from, and how she has converted into this. So these are the two, like one male and female. I didn't want to be pure feminist, giving you more female examples. So I think we are square on that. So how do you guys realize what is that awkwardness that you have, or something that you feel you're not good at, and maybe kind of extract the best that you can come from, right? So I think I talked about my story really. So what is an unfair advantage, right? Why do you think something is called an unfair advantage? So it's not having rich parents who give you everything. By the way, if you have, you're very lucky. Please adopt me also, because I can take some help from that. But the unfair advantage doesn't come from somebody giving you a lot of money and you're going and creating a product and you're doing da da da, right? Unfair advantage is that moment when you feel like I'm not good at it. Can I get better at it? I feel that this is my passion. Can I take it and evolve it into a kind of an innovation? Again, when I keep saying innovation, don't think it has to be just product that you can touch and feel. It could be anything that you can innovate yourself, right? It's a personal innovation can also happen out of this, right? And how do you convert this uniqueness into innovation, right? Let's break it down. I'm big into, I think, coming from a product background, I'm big into breaking down things into 1, 2, 3, 4. Because you know what? Actually, when you look at the brain, it works like that. If you give it a logical sequence of set of commands, it actually doesn't. That's why most of the microprocessors and all the computers in the world usually tries to emulate how the brain works. Thanks to YouTube also. The moment you say YouTube one-on-one, what does it? Step 1, step 2, step 3. Very easy. Sambar epi pannudu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will actually make something that will look like sambar at least, right? So that's very important for the brain to do like that. So I have broken it down into 3 important things. So one thing is the framework. Embrace your story. The most important is not to feel shy about your own story. You should be proud about who you are, because I strongly believe that having that behavioral sciences and everything, strongly believe everyone has a strength that they may not be aware of, right? They think the strength is, as I again said, to be at the top of the class, being the smartest in the class. That's not necessarily that, right? The strength could be something no one has identified, but you know what? You are the best judge of your own self. So embrace your strength, right? Good, bad, hilarious, whatever it is. I always say no ideas. So when the startups come and work with me here, I never tell them this is a bad idea. No idea is a bad idea, but maybe an idea that comes might not have scalability, maybe it doesn't have a market fit, maybe it might not be something that there is a gap that they're trying to fill. There could be different variants, but no idea is a bad idea. Every idea has to be at least given a chance to be validated, right? And maybe one of the idea comes in and you can course correct it and make it better, make it help. That's why we bring these ecosystem partners together to help any person, a startup. Similarly, let's say you're a student, you have this weirdest thing. Talk to your friends, talk to your teachers, talk to your parents, or talk to your neighbors, right? So Reach out. Don't get into this cocoon that many of this generation is doing it, where they think they have to solve their own problem. Please, there is 1 billion population in the world. There are many people who might come in and help you to solve your that particular idea or problem, right? So please make sure embrace your story. The next thing is spot your strength that is disguise, because the strengths that we have is always in disguise. We don't know what our strengths are till we start looking at ourselves, right? Don't have herd mentality. Avanga பண்றாங்களா, let's do it. AI, everyone is doing AI, I have to do an AI. No, not necessarily. Maybe you are not the AI person. Maybe you're a space person. Maybe you are physics person. Maybe you're not any person. You're just a corporate person. So be it. How does it matter? But please make sure that you spot your strength that is in disguise. So, one of the things that they told me, when my daughter is 14 years old, I have two kids. The older one is 20, the younger one is 14, always been, a kind of the misfit of the class. When she was 3 years old, she goes to a decent school, I think, here in Chennai. They told me for my first parent-teacher meeting. By the way, I did this parent-teachers meeting. I don't like to go talk to teachers because I have enough at home that my mom-in-law tells about my daughters. Think that I don't want my teachers to tell me how bad I'm raising a child. Okay, so having said that, so they said, oh, she has problem with colors. Like, okay. By the time she was 5, so I told my husband, he became a single parent almost, because the teachers who used to flirt with my husband used to think he's the only parent because he used to handsomely dress and go to school for the parent-teacher meeting. Then she was 5 years old. They said, she has neural problem. She can't hold a pencil. I'm like, okay, this is enough. I'm not going to the school again. Today, at 14. So two things, right? She can't recognize colors and she has neural issues. She can't hold a pen properly. And the third was the worst. Oh, she's a fly whisperer. I'm like, oh my God, this I've not heard in any dictionary. Where is this fly whisperer? Apparently, she would go around the class with her best friend and collect dead flies and put it in a box. So I'm like, is this a sadistic person I'm raising in my house, right? Then, today at 14, this fly whisperer, the person who didn't have, had issues with color, who couldn't hold pencil, has done 2 art shows because she's an artist. The kind of colors that she brings in her, not that because I'm a mom, I'm saying this, the explosion of colors that she brings into her, canvas is just astounding. Like, and she's done, like as I said, 2 shows already. And the fly whisperer is a trained Kathak dancer. So what I'm saying is, as parents, if I had taken action to it immediately, oh my God, color blindness, neuro problem, let's go to the neurologist, fix her brains. Instead of that, I also request, because a lot of here, the reason I brought up this example is not in the script, by the way, is because a lot of see like middle-aged people, I'm sure you have kids. So when the teachers tell you that the kids are this, please make sure you are the best judge of your kids. We are the best judge of our kids because we know what our kids want more than the teacher. They can only do it, like as I tell my kids, the teacher doesn't design your destiny. I don't design your destiny. You design your own destiny. So parents here also, when the kid has an awkwardness about them, or when you hear from others, maybe take a step back, give a benefit out to your own child and see. Maybe that is something that could be converted into the kid's strength. If I tell my daughter to become an engineer or a physicist, maybe she would not have been able to do it. But as an artist or as in the design space, maybe she will excel. I still have to see. She's only 14. But I feel she's in the right path and she's totally happy and enjoying what she's doing. So the key is spot your strength in disguise. Apply it to innovation. As I said, what we did, maybe she can become something like, similarly, you will have something that you have not, seen before. Take that up and apply it to any form of innovation, right? It could be anything. And finally, inspiration. How do you inspire yourself? We always, as humans, look for inspiration from outside. A pat in the back, right? Can you try to do something where you can inspire yourself, right? Like I love this quote by Scott Belsky, right? It's not about ideas. It's about how you make ideas happen. And this is something we talk to all the startups. Nariya ideas irukku, nariya idu kondu varinga. But is it possible for you to convert these ideas and actually make it happen, right? Because zillion ideas squared on to something, few of them, kind of go and take a look at it and see, validate it and see maybe 1 or 2 or 3 can click. Resilience is very important when you do this. You know why? Inspiration goes down, immediately you see a failure. That's where resilience has to build in. Again, the reason I picked up Oprah and Steve Jobs was how many times Steve Jobs was thrown out of his own company. How many people know about that, right? Till he came back to start Pixar, with a bang, right? So, having said that, resilience as an innovator, as a startup, as a human, as an individual, as a student, as a mom, as a parent is very important, right? All of us, we need the resilience and we keep looking into it, right? And so here's my last two lines challenge to you guys is next time you feel out of place, you just all, everybody here, remember, right? That your unfair advantage is waiting to shine and embrace it, use it, and who knows, one day you will be a reason when someone says, wait, why didn't I think of it? Right? So having said that, thank you. And don't worry, I'm never going to quiz you guys on this again. What I spoke, can you please tell me? But once again, thank you. It was lovely talking to this audience and thanks for listening.